the keys are to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, Alex, and this is Detroit Lions week. And the 49ers always have news, and they have a lot of news right now because we know the corresponding move now. Josh Norman becomes the San Francisco 49ers. Somebody had to go, and it was going to give us a good idea of what was going on. No cornerback went to the IR. However, Dontae Johnson is now no longer a 49er. Somehow, I expect to see him again.
Somehow, some way, Dontae Johnson will find his way back to San Francisco, and we're happy that you all found your way back here to the 49ers Cutback, so make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you haven't already, you're back here, and if you're not subscribed and you keep coming back, might as well just hit this thing. It's free, right? You can always unsubscribe if you don't like anything that we do, and that's A-okay by us, but we do have stuff to talk about. There was the corresponding move that was finally made, Ant. Dontae Johnson, bye, see you later. He's gone. He's dealing with some hip stuff there, and they sign and bring on Josh Norman. We know the contract details. We know it's the vet minimum stuff. This was the best case scenario for the corresponding move, right? If this was the reason it was going to happen, and this was the reason why the Niners made it, we're both pretty happy about this.
Yeah, that was what we were thinking, especially when I went on the live stream to talk about it. It was like, this was the scenario that made me feel the most comfortable. Anytime that you can just improve depth, whether we don't know exactly what Norman's role is going to be, but we do know, however, now that the 49ers cornerback room is better than it was before they signed Josh Norman, because even though we lose a little bit of flexibility with Dontae Johnson, because he could play inside or outside, and Norman is more of an outside guy, I do believe he's better on the outside than Dontae Johnson, even at this point in his career. So it is an improvement for the 49ers. It was a shocking move. It was something I didn't see coming. I didn't expect the 49ers to add a corner at this point. I like that they did it. I like that they are continuing to try to make their roster better. Insulates themselves maybe in case Emmanuel Mosley is not healthy.
True. Because
I guess he's not practicing still. Now, once again, like I've brought up before, and I think you're on the same page with me, is if they don't practice Wednesday, if these players are not practicing on Wednesday, then we start to have a little bit of concern. So right now, it's not a huge deal. But on Wednesday, they need to be out there.
You are right. You are 100% right. They need to be out there Wednesday. And let's steer away from Josh Norman real quick in the corresponding moves. And let's talk about today's practice, right? Yeah. And the things that happened. Well, Monday's practice, excuse me. And what happened, who was there, who did DNP'd, who was participating. The DNPs, you just brought one up, Emmanuel Mosley, Jalen Hurd, and shockingly, for some people, Kevin Givens, because they weren't expecting him to be a DNP. The good news was that Mosley and Givens were both on the side field working on some stuff. Hurd was one of the names that wasn't on a side field. Media didn't really see him doing a whole lot of, so everyone obviously freaking out and panicking. What does this mean for Jalen Hurd? Oh my gosh, this dude's not helping. We kept this guy around. He's not going to be available and active. Just breathe. I agree with you, Ant. Wednesday is the day, right? Kyle talked about it last week. Hurd needs to have 3 good days of practice this week. That's what he wants. That's Wednesday, that's Thursday, and that's Friday. So he's still got plenty of days right left on the schedule to get those 3 good days of practice in. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I imagine tomorrow, limited. Or, excuse me, today. Today he's going to be probably limited.
What they're doing is trying to work him on a certain plan and trajectory to make sure he's healthy for Sunday. And he's got to prove it in these 3 days of practice, Wednesday through and all the way through walkthroughs. Make sure that he's healthy enough to play on Sunday and be one of those 5 receivers. It's a little early to get concerned. Now, with Kevin Givens, they did mention that he had the groin thing before.
Sure.
So he's out there working, getting the groin stretching, getting that thing going. It's something to watch and be careful with, but ultimately I think he's going to be okay. I don't know what is with Emmanuel Mosley overall because I don't know what the concern is. I know he had the hamstring thing, so if it's the hamstring thing, maybe they're just being really overly cautious. But we don't want a hamstring issue. So I guess I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. Let's see if he's able to play on Sunday. If he is, that's why it's one of our 5 big questions, for the 49ers heading into Detroit. Is Emmanuel Mosley's health? They've insulated themselves a little bit with Norman, but asking Norman to come in and play right away might be a heavy, tall ask. So maybe we're going to get Emmanuel Mosley healthy. We're going to be good to go, and Norman's just going to be there to compete eventually, add some depth. But it's I'll be happier when they're all back. But it was nice to see some other guys show back up at practice.
Absolutely. Brandon Aiyuk returns. Dre Greenlaw returns. DJ Jones returns. And Travis Benjamin, I don't know if he's been fully cleared from concussion protocol for the contact and things of that nature, but he is cleared at least to start doing certain activities and running around and getting out there in space. So he's taking the first step to come completely back from concussion protocol. That's great news. Those are all names you like to see. I get it, Travis Benjamin on the practice squad, but this could be a guy you bring up on game days, especially short term, if you're looking for someone to fulfill that punt duty role so you don't have to force it and push it onto Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, you don't know the health of Brandon Aiyuk overall. He's first day back, so I don't know if he's a full, all go, but you're worried about anytime it's a hamstring. You just want to take it easy on him. So maybe you want him to just focus on offensive snaps. Early on in the season, Travis Benjamin can be that extra guy that, go ahead and return punts, kicks, and take the burden off these other guys to do that. I think Elijah Mitchell still could return kicks for the 49ers, and maybe that's the route they'll go. They have Mohamed Sanu to help return punts as well. But I think if they could put Travis Benjamin back there, they would. So it'll be interesting who these 48 guys are that dress. But another interesting question, another thing that Detroit has to prepare for is who are going to be these players and how are they going to, use them. Talk about Jalen Hurd. Yeah, he needs to be out there and practicing, even if it's just to fool Detroit into thinking he's going to practice or play. So that way they have to prepare for his skill set and what he can do. We saw in the Raiders preseason game that when Jalen Hurd got moving in motion, the linebackers, safeties, everyone paid attention and they moved pre-snap. They're worried about him already, and this was just the preseason. That just shows you the effect and the ability that the league thinks that Jalen Hurd has.
The Jalen Hurd effect is a real thing. We talked about it a while back, so if you haven't watched that video, make sure you hop back over and check that one out as well, because we dive into a lot of those things and how Jalen Hurd is going to force teams to have to respect his skill set and respect the things that Kyle Shanahan specifically can do with him. Because we've seen what Kyle Shanahan can do with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyks of the world. You know what Jalen Hurd's talents are, especially if you're a coach in the NFL. You scouted this guy, you looked at this guy in that draft. When this guy's healthy, you know what he can be. You know what his background is as a running back, having flipped to a 6'5" wide receiver. So you know where his strengths lie. And so when you know where those strengths lie, you have to account for those strengths, especially when he's on the field. Having him be the third wideout in some of those sets with Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel being the fly sweep guy in motion forces linebackers, it forces defenses to adjust, react accordingly, right, and respect what he may be able to add to the field. So Kyle Shanahan, he wants Jalen Hurd out there. 49ers fans want Jalen Hurd out there.
Yep.
Jalen Hurd wants to be out there. Let's hope all of those things are answered here in week 1. That would be really, really great for everyone involved, and especially Ant, who wants to rep that number 14 jersey bad.
I do want to wear that jersey. So if Jalen Hurd could be on the field against Detroit and makes, even if he's a decoy, just makes some sort of an impact on the offense, I can proudly wear my number 14 jersey. That would be exciting.
It would be very exciting, and I agree with you there. But back to the Josh Norman situation, because we talked about Emmanuel Mosley and the hamstring there and the issues there with that. We both thought, we talked about it as soon as the signing happened. He went live. You covered it while I was prepping for fantasy football.
Yeah.
Josh Norman, it's a good depth add. We checked out some of the film. We've watched a little bit of it. Early on in 2020, he looked fairly solid. That first game, week 4 that he played, that first game back because he was dealing with a hamstring issue. Before that, against the Tennessee Titans, against A.J. Brown, he had some good moments out there in space. He put some good film out there. The problem, he had a grade 1 hamstring strain in 2019. 2020, grade 2, or excuse me, in 2018. 2019, grade 2 hamstring strain. And then halfway through the year, in the 2020 season, does it again. He re-aggravates and ends up missing a significant amount of time. He was only available for 9 games last year. He only started 3. As soon as that hamstring flared up, he wasn't the same player. Emmanuel Mosley dealing with a hamstring. Josh Norman, consecutive seasons, same leg, hamstring issue that has progressively gotten worse. He's coming in now off the couch, as Tommy would say, right? Tommy's been saying in the chat. Coming off the couch. He doesn't want him out there playing. Are we sure that this guy is going to be in the shape, his body is going to be able to handle it? Because the last 2 seasons, hamstring issues, same hamstring, is progressively worse with the injury.
I don't know what football shape he's going to be in. I don't know. That's why I'm talking about him getting significant snaps. It's kind of puzzling. Like, I don't know if he could come in right now and just start right off the bat. I'd be worried about his body betraying him a little bit. I think he has the potential to go out there and give you significant, snaps, significant time when he's fully healthy and in football shape. I just don't know if that's now. So I don't know if this is, an insulation thing where if Verrett or Mosley go down, now you have Norman and you feel comfortable if he's coming in because you don't want it to be, Deommodore Lenoir. You don't think Deommodore Lenoir is ready yet, because that's the next guy up. You know what I mean? So that's what they're kind of looking at. And I don't know. I guess we're still a little concerned about Mosley, but I'm concerned if Mosley isn't ready to go about Norman playing week 1 against Detroit, not because of his skill set and what he could do on the field, just because I'm afraid his body will betray him. I want him to stay healthy. Every guy we brought in late in the season last year that had basically come off the couch ended up getting injured again. So I just want this guy to be healthy. I want him to be able to play because he is a nice tool to have in your tool belt. You could be able to pull him out. He does a very good job of understanding a lot of different coverage schemes, and he's played against every single receiver in the league. He'll have a very good idea of what to do. He's the kind of like the next best thing to what Richard Sherman would have been for the 49ers. So we've been advocates for Richard Sherman possibly coming back at some point. So I'm not going to hate on this move about bringing in another veteran. And I do think he's an upgrade over Dontae Johnson. But the injury questions are still going to be there. Anytime I'm guessing he's fully healed from the hamstring. But anytime that hamstring thing happens, it's always nerve-wracking because one little tight pull and all of a sudden you're out, for a significant amount of time.
The older you get too, the harder it is to get things warm, get things loose, and things of that nature. So all it takes is one practice, one game where his body just isn't cooperating with him. He goes through his warm-up, he goes through his routine, and something just doesn't feel right. You know what? He's a competitor, right? He's an athlete. I'm going to play through this thing. I know what I can do. And that's all it takes. That one instance there, going into a game not feeling like your body is 100% there, you plant, you stick, you do something that you normally do, but your body's not just in the right spot. It doesn't feel right. You're not moving, sticking, planning, being as explosive as you normally would be. You overdo it just a little bit to try and kick yourself into gear, and a hammy goes, right? You do something, roll an ankle because you're planning too early, because you're thinking about how you're moving and how you want to move rather than just reacting. Those types of things can happen to an athlete, especially a high-level athlete. The one thing you don't want to ever do is be thinking about your body and thinking about, what you're supposed to be doing technique-wise. And when your body isn't responding, that's something that tends to happen. You start thinking about technique, thinking about what you're doing, how quick you want to be, maybe going a little bit earlier, pressing a little bit harder than you normally would because you want to get on that jump, get on that break, get downhill, get on that ball, right? Make this tackle in space, get him before he gets to the first down mark or whatever it may be. And the older you get, the more it becomes prevalent and an issue for older athletes, and especially a guy like Josh Norman now the last few seasons, who's dealt with the same type of issue in that lower extremity with the hamstring.
Yeah, and you have the video. I don't know if I talked to you earlier. You didn't see the video of Josh Norman talking to his agent. And the one, there was a couple of things I pulled, away from it. Number one is there was other teams, there was other suitors that were interested in Norman, and he was looking for the right opportunity. And when he said he was getting the right opportunity in San Francisco, and then you put that incentive-laden deal where he's going to get performance bonuses from how he plays, it means that something that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have told him makes him think he's going to have an opportunity to get on the field, an opportunity to produce for the football team. Does that mean that they're just telling him, hey, if something happens, you're our next guy in? Or is that them telling him you're going to be able to come in and compete with Emmanuel Mosley, and if you beat him out in practice, you're going to get significant snaps? I don't know which one that is for sure, but it was a little intriguing to me that is the point. But as far as the play goes, Josh Norman still has a lot of potential. He can still play. Even at his age, he's still a very talented guy, and somebody I think we can get excited about playing out there because he plays physical. He's always in their face, and he understands what he's doing. And just putting him out there, you can feel comfortable with somebody opposite of Jason Brett. Jason Brett's going to travel. He's your guy. He's going to be on all the great receivers. But you need somebody else to be able to handle this. And who knows what you're going to need later on in the year. You just can't have a weakness in the secondary. The two areas that we've talked about with the 49ers all offseason has been the secondary with the DBs, especially the corners. And we've talked about the offensive line. And they've tried to make sure they secure it. And I think that they've done a very good job here at last minute of making sure that they have the DBs and secondary that they need to be able to protect that back end when this defensive line is getting after people. You don't have to cover very long, but you have to cover long enough to make a play. And these guys can do it.
And we watched a little bit of the film, and Josh Norman in man stuff especially looked pretty solid last year.
He did.
The times where he was out there pressing, especially against A.J. Brown in that Tennessee game, he had some flashes. He had some moments. There's definitely probably something still in the tank there. I don't think that he's washed by any means. The question is just health. It's always going to be health now with the last few years for him, right, and what he's happened. And also the site that you looked at, one of the sites you looked at pulled up had him at an 85% chance of getting injured and missing at least 2 quarters.
Yeah, 85%. and 10.8% chance of getting hurt in a game.
That's not good.
Like missing a game.
That's not good.
Yeah.
But listen, hopefully, right? New situation, a lot of time off. Didn't put his body through the rigors of training camp and things of that nature. I imagine he's a professional. So he's obviously out working and doing things. So he's not out of shape. The question is he in game shape? Because there's a difference, right, between practicing, doing one-on-ones and things of that nature and running around on a football field and actually game-like situations, simulations, and things of that nature where you have bullets flying. It's more than just you and the guy you're guarding in a one-on-one situation. You have blockers flying at you. You got defenders around you in space that you have to operate around as well as other offensive players and other receivers, right, in an area. So definitely going to be a difference between those two things. Is he all there yet? I would doubt it that he's all the way there, but he's probably not as far off as, as some fans would think, or some fans may be worried about him straight up coming off the couch. While he was spending some time on the couch at home watching film and things of that nature, it wasn't all couch potato for Josh Norman.
I guarantee he was on the grind.
Yeah.
He's a professional. He understands what it means to be an NFL cornerback, and he was not done. He didn't want his career to end that way. He wanted to go out and end on his own terms, and he's getting an opportunity in San Francisco. I guarantee he's been working hard. There's nothing about Josh Norman that makes me think he's a slough or he's going to, fall off. No lack of effort from him. At every point in his career and every team that he's been on, he's competed and he's worked really hard. Sometimes competed a little bit too much with fisticuffs.
Sure.
But it is somebody that I definitely enjoy having. And like I said, if this would have been 2016, I'd have been partying like a rock star, enjoying this. Now that it's here, though, I'm kind of, now that I've been able to look at everything, take it all in, I am now pleasantly happy with the move because I do think it's an improvement over Dontae Johnson. They must feel comfortable with Deommodore Lenoir playing in the slot role if something happens to K'Wan Williams. That would be the reason that they could now move on with somebody that's a better player on the outside, and then you still have somebody on the inside you feel comfortable with. Because Dontae Johnson was that guy that could play both, and you could feel at least comfortable he could get you through football games. He wasn't going to go out there and dominate, but you didn't have to worry about it being a complete dumpster fire either.
Correct, and that was the big thing. And you know what? This may just lead to the fact, right, that Dontae just completely health-wise, they're worried this is going to be a longer-term thing than a week or two. And so they're not willing to take the chance. They're not willing to risk it. That's why they part ways. They bring in Josh Norman. You've now insulated yourself. You're going to be comfortable with Deommodore sliding inside if you need him to, but you know that you're getting an upgrade on the outside in terms of just man coverage, press coverage, and things like that with Josh Norman that maybe Dontae Johnson maybe isn't as effective as or efficient as with him. But let's move on from this because there's still tons of questions, and as the week progresses, the picture will become clearer on Josh Norman.
True.
No reason to speculate too much because one thing we don't need to speculate on is that Trey Lance is progressing. He's getting better. The splint is off, folks. Splint Watch 2021 is here. It is off the finger. Trey Lance gripping footballs again. Not throwing yet in practice, but that's okay. Small baby steps as we progress towards week one and Trey Lance gets a little bit closer to being healthy.
Yeah, 7 days was Monday that they were going to, go ahead and take the brace off. That was when he's supposed to be kind of healthy. But we talked about Wednesday would probably be the day that he, takes his first snaps and actually throws the football. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. If he's doing that, he'll probably play on Sunday in some sort of a role. We don't know exactly what that role will be. If he doesn't practice early, Wednesday, Thursday, and those days, he probably won't play against Detroit. My guess is they're going to do the best they can to disguise it, whether he's going to play or not. Because they want to make sure that Detroit has to prepare for 2-quarterback system.
I want them preparing for the 2-quarterback system.
Oh, yeah,
I want
true.
the Shannon plan in full effect. So I think this is the right progression, not rushing it. I saw some fans seeing some of the reports and getting a little wary still. He's not throwing a football. That's not a good sign. He's not ready, not tough enough, all this stuff. And it's like, it's a throwing finger injury. Let's just slow the roll here. I would much rather Trey Lance take his sweet time. If Trey Lance doesn't throw a football until Thursday, I'll be okay.
Oh, yeah.
As long as he's slowly making that progress and those progressions towards being able to do the things he needs to do, if he's taking snaps, catching snaps, handing the ball off, doing all that fun stuff, hey, guess what? He can still be extremely effective on Sunday if that's the only things you're doing or the things that you're going to limit him to. You don't want to obviously give away too much, and the 49ers aren't going to. So by keeping this up in the air, and then, by the time you get to Wednesday, Thursday, him sneaking into practice, it's going to, again, put the Detroit Lions on high alert. Is this guy playing? Is he actually healthy enough to play? Should we be prepping for throws down the field and things of that nature? Or is Trey Lance not going to be doing any of that? Is he not even going to see the field now? Again, questions start boiling in the minds over there in Detroit. What do you prepare for? What choices do you make? Again, just making the jobs harder for the coordinators and the head coach.
And he's definitely tough enough. He finished that game with the broken finger.
With a broken freaking finger.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was a tip, and all that, but he finished it, and he was able to throw incomplete passes. That's one thing I've never questioned about Trey Lance was his toughness. The guy's about. I've never questioned his intelligence either. He's a super smart guy. But it'll be 2 weeks since the injury once we get to the game on Sunday.
Sure.
So that is enough time for him to heal from this. I mean, as somebody that's had a similar injury to a thumb, I healed in a similar time period.
Time frame. Nice.
And I didn't have quite the medical that he has, and he probably even heals faster than me. He's younger.
He's younger, better looking,
more physical.
He's just better.
Did you have to say better looking?
No, I mean I didn't have to. He's better looking than me, if that makes you feel better.
That cut me deep. I mean, Trey's a good-looking guy. I mean,
he is.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see all the pictures of them with their Mafia gang night?
I did see those.
It was clean.
Yeah.
The drip was on point.
Yeah. The defensive line guys, they look pretty rough.
They look rough.
They're kind of scary.
The O-line looks smooth.
Jimmy looked very GQ as usual.
I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
What do you expect from Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah. George Kittle over his shoulder.
I mean, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful stuff. Oh, look, this team is meshing. It's gelling.
Yeah.
You could tell from those pictures that got posted, this team is all on the same page. They're all in the same boat. Guys are getting healthy. The Niners are making moves to shore up positions, make sure they insulate themselves from injuries, and to make sure that the Detroit Lions get the best version of the San Francisco 49ers in Week 1 on Sunday. We cannot wait till that. We cannot wait till Thursday's live stream where you get the full-fledged preview show all up in your faces. It's going to be a good time. You're going to enjoy that, so make sure you don't miss that 5:30 p.m. Pacific time right here on the 49ers Cutback YouTube channel. And we got great content still coming up on Patreon this week.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff all over the place. 49ers Cutback in Time on Thursday on Patreon. Make sure you check that out. That'll be exciting. And we also got a Know Your Opponent coming out on Friday, where we're going to be discussing with a Detroit Lions insider about the Detroit Lions and how they match up against the 49ers. And it's a guy with a coaching background that we know that he knows about football a little bit. So it'll be a nice conversation to have, and all that stuff is happening this week. It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a fun time. You're not going to want to miss any of it, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Become a channel member like our boy Ramsey down there did. Although he is playing fantasy football, that's part of the reason why he wants access to that fantasy stuff. There are also great things that you get from the channel membership here, including member-only live streams, which we just finished the first one. So if you become a member, you can go back and watch that and get an idea of what's coming your way. Tons of great ways for you to interact with the Cutback crew, with us, the 49ers Cutback. So make sure you take advantage of all of those opportunities.
Yeah, it's a cool way. If you want to do it, go ahead and do that. So that way you can see some of the other stuff that we're putting out there. And if not, that's fine too. We enjoy having you guys just how you are, just watching, commenting, sharing the video. We appreciate all of it. We couldn't do any of it without you. And it's, I think now we're finally to that point where here's football. Football is here. We're going to have less off-season type topics and more in-season, where we can really get into the brass tacks, which is X's and O's, winning football games and trying to get to the playoffs and ultimately the Super Bowl. That's exciting. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I want to break down.
Looking forward to playoffs?
Yeah.
Playoffs? You kidding me? I just want us to play a game of football.
Well, hopefully Detroit is who we thought they were.
And we won't let them off the hook.
No, we're not going to let them.
We don't want to pull any Denny Greens around here at all whatsoever. You know what? Week 1 can't get here soon enough. And until the next one, Cutback crew and the faithful, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.